And Gary Fenton, equine attorney, is going to talk to us about setting a budget, determining what kind of fees you can expect, understanding tax implications. There are partnership agreements that have to be put together, and lots of things and considerations that you just should be aware of before you dive in. So Gary Fenton will speak about that now.
It all seems so fun and exciting, and now I'm here to squash all your dreams. I'm Gary Fenton. I'm an equine attorney. I'm also the managing partner of Little Red Feather Racing, which is one of the partnership groups out here in Southern California and across the nation. And these guys talk about how one race can change your life, and it literally happened for me. 5 years ago, I was an entertainment attorney, not an equine attorney. I grew up in Los Angeles. I was having a nice career, enjoying myself, really loving being an entertainment attorney in Los Angeles. And I was lucky enough, or unlucky enough, depending on who you ask, to have grown up with Billy Koch, who started Little Red Feather Racing in 2002. And he started it with a horse named Singletary. And he called me up one day and he said, you know, it wasn't Singletary, but he was having some problems with a breeder out in Florida over a horse that he thought he had purchased, but they were trying to back out of the deal. And so I helped him out with the deal, and then a couple of days later he asked me out on a date. He asked me to work on another project for him and another project for him. Before I knew it, I was pretty much his outside counsel at Little Red Feather, which was great and it was fine, and he was just putting together these mom and top partnerships until Singletary. And Breeders' Cup 2004, Singletary won the Breeders' Cup Mile, and from that day forward, people started calling Billy, put together partnerships for him, and he called me up one day and he said, why don't we try to make a business out of it? And I was a little suspect, and I called my parents, and my parents looked at me and said, are you out of your mind? And I said, I might be, but I'm going to give it a shot here. And that one race is the reason I'm sitting here today. And you talk about the highs. I'm not married, I don't have any kids, but it was the greatest day of my life, and it was also the greatest day for our 13 partners out there at Lone Star Park. When you're looking at going into a partnership, or you're looking to invest in a horse, I think the first thing to consider is your budget. This is a high-end luxury product. This is going to Vegas and using disposable money to gamble with. It is a high-risk, high-reward game, and the lows financially are very, very low. Unfortunately, it's not the NFL where there's a salary cap. You are competing against guys out there who are millionaires and billionaires, and this is their hobby. And they want to win big races, and they spend more money than these purses allow to try to win these big races. And that, unfortunately, pushes the cost of horses up and makes this game very, very competitive and very, very expensive. So the first thing I think everybody needs to do when they're thinking about getting involved in horses is to set a budget. And set a budget using disposable income. And that budget can be $1,000, that budget can be $50,000. But you're setting aside money that you're expecting to lose all of it. Not 90% of it, not 80% of it. People ask me, like, you know, when they get involved with Little Red Feather, what are the percentages that they're going to make money? And I said, 0. We've had 40, I'll be honest, we've had 40 horses and 2 have made money. And from what I've seen over the last 5 or 6 years, like, while I've been in this game, that seems to be pretty much the average. So it's a very expensive game, and so you need to set a budget, and you need to expect to lose that budget. How am I doing so far, squashing everybody's dreams?
So on a happier note,
however, we did take a $30,000 horse and won $2.2 million from it. And I don't know if anybody knows the TV business. When you see a hit show like Seinfeld or Cheers or The Office, there are 20 other shows that have failed that they have paid for, but that Cheers or The Office pays for the other 20 failures, and that kind of happens here in the horse racing business. So overall, if you set a budget, what I would do with that budget is I would buy as many horses as you can. If you buy one horse, your odds are very low of having success. If you buy many horses, your odds that one of them will hit and hopefully pay for the other horses that don't do as well. If you're looking to get into partnerships, the best thing to do is ask questions. And you can call the TOC, you can call Lucinda, you can call Mary, you ask questions about the different partnerships. And not just about their style, but about their financial structure. Some partnerships charge a very, very low markup, and some charge a very, very high markup. And usually these partnerships are pretty open and transparent about these markups, and you should ask about them and go through your budget to see if what you're paying for is worth it. Once you're in a partnership, and unfortunately once you lose money, the great thing is that at the end of the year, you're going to get a nice tax credit from it. Partnerships supply 1099s at the end of the year, and everybody gets a K-1. And most, if not all, tax losses are a complete write-off against any income. At first, if you're what's considered an active owner, you would get the write-off taken down in year 1. If you're not considered an active owner, you would get the tax loss when the partnership ended. So that's one of the benefits of it. When looking at different partnerships, you should always, always, always look at the partnership agreement. Now that I've been an equine attorney now for 5 years, all I see are people coming up to me with problems. And they're only problems because they didn't have the partnership agreement sorted out at the very beginning. And I think that's the most important thing about getting involved in horses and getting involved in partnerships is who you're being involved with and what kind of agreement you have set up. And that agreement can be a handshake agreement or it can be a partnership agreement. But as long as you have your goals outlined and your objectives outlined and managing partner and their goal and not their goals and what their duties are and what their fiduciary duties are, if you line them all out at the beginning, it alleviates a lot of problems on the backside. And the problems are all across the board. A lot of people don't have any problems, and you never really have problems until obviously you do have problems. And that's the unfortunate thing. And that problem can be having a disagreement on where the horse should race. You should have a disagreement on whether to keep Matt Chu as a trainer. You know, it could be across the board. The silks are whose silks are you going to wear? So if you outline this at the very beginning, and our partnership agreements outline everything, and I always invite a prospective investor to ask me a million questions. Our partnership agreements are 60 pages long, and they go through just about everything. And I encourage questions from it because people have these questions after they get involved. And sometimes they don't like it, and sometimes they do. But if you have them outlined at the beginning, then you know where you stand. And I think that's important for everybody.